Hello! You are watching The Pretty Fix, and I am celebrity makeup artist Melissa Murdick, here to teach you literally everything you want to know about makeup. If you are new here, please subscribe. I teach a lot of amazing pro tips from my 16 years experience as a makeup artist. Most of what I share here you will not find anywhere else on the internet, including today's topic of how to match your foundation perfectly. Now, obviously there are a lot of tutorials for this topic, but the majority of them that I have come across still use kind of an old school method where you do 3 stripes of color on your jawline and assess things that way. I do not think that this is the easiest or best way to go about it, so I am going to teach you my personal favorite technique for matching foundation. Let's get into it. First things first that you need to consider is where to match your foundation to in order to get a perfect match. Now, I would recommend doing your foundation matching in the best natural daylight possible, not in direct sunlight, but well lit. So either moving towards the windows at the front of a store or in your own bathroom, something like that. That is much more ideal than relying on artificial lighting, which can create certain different tones to the skin that aren't realistic for natural daylight. Once you've got your lighting in place, zoom out on yourself. Most tutorials that I see for foundation recommend matching along the jawline or just focusing on the chest. They're too zoomed into particular areas where tones can really vary. So I recommend taking into account your entire upper body area, about from the chest up. So that includes your chest, maybe a little bit of your shoulders and your neck and your face. Looking at this entire area is going to give you the best possible picture of what your skin tone is, because that allows you to ignore very small variations in particular areas that might factor into you matching your foundation incorrectly. Once you've found a foundation that you would like to get a match for, the first step is to compare the depth of your skin tone to those foundations. Now, what that means is where your skin tone lies on the spectrum from lightest to deepest in those shades. So start by holding up a few bottles of foundation next to your upper body, again, comparing those tones to the overall tone of your skin and your upper body, and try and find ones that look like they could be a close match. They don't have to be exact. You're not gonna know just by looking at a bottle whether or not those foundations are going to match. If you can't see through the bottle of foundation, you can put several big drops on the back of your hand and hold it up to look that way to see if you're in the right neighborhood. And once you've got those 3-ish kind of tones, we can move on to the next step of trying them out. Now that you have several shades of foundation, the idea is to test them in a way that will give you the most accurate results, which is not the old school 3-stripe method. And here is why. When you put 3 thick globs on your jawline to see if the foundation looks like it's a match, you are not applying it in a way that you would actually wear that foundation. There's just a concentrated amount of pigment, and sometimes the pigmentation in foundations can look off unless it's spread out evenly over the skin. So instead of just doing one small area, I highly encourage you to do one shade on one half of your face, another on your other half of your face, and then one across the forehead. And when you're applying these, do it just like you would your foundation. So use your fingers, use a brush, use a sponge. Whatever your typical method of applying foundation is, use that when you're testing foundations so that you get the most true to life assessment of how they actually look. Once you've got those 3 foundation tester shades on, now we are going to analyze the overall undertone of those foundations. So most skin tones either have more of a golden undertone, a little bit more of a pinky red undertone, maybe a little bit of an olivey green undertone, or they fall kind of in the middle, which is neutral. This is going to be reflected in the foundations that you're trying out as well. So start to analyze whether or not a foundation looks maybe a little too orangey on your skin, or maybe it's coming off as a little too pink, or maybe you found one that looks like it blends in perfectly. That is your perfect match. If on the other hand, you do have one of those unwanted tones, you need to go back to that foundation line and then look for a foundation that is the same depth as your skin tone, but has less of the unwanted tone that you know doesn't match well. Unfortunately, not every foundation line is going to have a perfect match for everyone, so it may be that you need to choose a different line altogether. But hopefully now that a lot of brands are coming out with 50+ shades at a time, you will be able to get exactly what you need. Now, obviously, with this process, there is trial and error involved at each step. The idea of this tutorial was to give you a more systematic way to analyze what you're seeing so that you can find something that you can definitely tell blends in seamlessly with your overall skin tone. I hope that this tutorial has been very helpful to you. If so, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Also, I have a full website that this whole YouTube channel is attached to. It is called theprettyfix.com. I give out weekly makeup advice. I have online makeup classes and just a lot more for you there. If you are a beginner or if you are struggling with anything in particular, definitely head on over and check that out, and I hope to see you again soon.